Hey guys, what's up?
Hello, hello.
I am Kelly Tarzan of the Attic Keen.
I am Jazzy, non-fork using asshole Dodson.
And you know, it finally dawned on me. I was trying to think for the longest time about what our what our theme music reminds me of,
Uh-huh.
and it just hit me. It reminds me a little of the old MTV music.
Yeah,
It totally
that
does.
makes total sense to me.
Yeah. Um So we were actually a little confused on the episode title for this in episode 10 because the MGM Studios press site says reflections, but on everything else it says revelations. So whatever it is, it's chapter 1 and chapter 2, but we're just going to go with revelations because that's the one that we've seen most
Yeah,
often.
I think
um
that makes sense.
yeah, yeah. But the synopsis reads tensions are at an all time high as the town residents learn that one of their own has gone missing. Um, this was a great episode.
Yeah.
I mean, it just like each one gets better. And I
Yeah.
like 10 is hands down my favorite of the season.
Yeah, mine too. I'm worried people are going to complain that this one's a bunch of exposition again because
Yeah.
it is exposition heavy, but we
Yeah.
still get answers. We still get like lot of intense situations. Like I keep thinking about the fact that we watched this episode and then had to wait like 5 weeks before we got the finale.
Right.
It's like, I was so stressed out that whole time.
Man. Um, well, anyway, welcome back. If you've never been with us before, welcome. We are the From Series podcast and Cyborg Queen Media. If you are watching us, you can find all of the shows that we cover on the Cyborg Queen Media channel. But if you're more of an audio person at times, you can also find this podcast wherever you listen to podcasts by looking up From Series Podcast. And if you're listening, check out our YouTube channel. We're at youtube.com/at Cyborg Queen Media. And we cover quite a few shows. We are down to just two right now at the same time
Yeah.
because our other two wrapped up for the season. So we're covering Hysteria right now as well. And we're going to start covering Severance very, very soon. So
Yeah.
look out for that.
I just finished Hysteria.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
loved it.
It was really fun.
Yeah, yeah, it really was.
I
It
hope
was
they
great.
get another season because I have questions.
Okay, I have, and I'm sorry, I realize this is not a Hysteria podcast. I'm gonna go on a tangent, but not a super long one. It drives me nuts. My favorite Def Leppard song is Hysteria, and it drives me nuts that the name of the show is Hysteria, and the one
Yeah.
Def Leppard song that they used was Love Bites.
Yeah. Seemed like a missed opportunity.
I know. I was so pissed.
Especially it would have fit perfectly into the finale.
I
Did they
know.
not get the licensing? Are they saving it for season 2? I don't know.
Maybe. I don't know. Possibly. But anyway, you can also find us on social media. Everybody is heading over to Blue Sky right now. So like I guess everybody just skipped over Threads
I
suddenly.
know.
Like what the hell?
I like Threads. It's friendly.
I know. I know.
It's
But
a
yeah,
warm
I think
place.
we are on Blue Sky. I just haven't done anything with it. But you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Threads, and TikTok at Cyborg Queen Media. Probably Blue Sky too. I just have to double check. And whatever we are in Blue Sky, we're also the same on Mastodon and Spoutable. I set up profiles everywhere for us on like every social media site.
Mastodon? Am I
Yeah.
old?
Are you not
I've
familiar with Mastodon?
never heard of that I mean, I know what a mastodon is. I just didn't know there was a
Yeah.
social media mastodon.
Yeah. There's yeah, I've set up profiles on just about every social media
You
site.
can look for us on Parlor and Truth Social. No.
Okay, yeah, no, not those.
Just kidding.
Oh my God, no.
Please don't
Yeah.
go for us there.
Yeah, Truth Social. Woohoo. No, that's where Jim's hanging out.
Yeah. Jim is the town Truth Social.
Yeah, Jim and Randall. Except I'm reluctant to say anything bad about Randall right now because I'm starting to like him.
Yeah, Randall's on the upswing. He's
Yeah.
coming around.
Yeah, he really is. So this I'm so sad that we're almost over with the season. Like, I'm gonna go
I
in the morning.
know. I really I'm not ready. I'm not ready.
I'm not either. This show makes me so happy. We're gonna have to do some bonus episodes.
Oh yeah. There's plenty we can discuss.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
I'm also stressed out they haven't announced a pickup yet for season 4.
I know.
Where
I mean,
is it?
it's like, unless Harold Perrineau said, "Fuck it, I'm out and there's nothing you can do to get me back." I don't
know.
Like, there's no way there's not going to be a season 4.
He was just on Instagram yesterday begging for it. So
there's no way it's not. I mean, there's no way it's not getting renewed. There's no way in hell. But yeah, so this we were just talking about, like, we were just talking about how we're worried that people are going to complain that it's, not much happens and it's just a lot of exposition, but I mean, it's very much a setup for the finale episode.
Yeah.
The
finale is full tilt.
Yes. Yeah.
No setup, all delivery.
Holy shit, so much happens.
Yeah.
In episode 10. My fucking God. Whew. But yeah, it's it's kind of like the calm before the storm. And it's like but it's still a fantastic episode. I mean, it's my favorite so far.
Yeah, me too.
The whole season until we get to 10. It's just like we need a little bit more setup. And that setup is fascinating. So I don't know. Like, I think the people that are complaining probably should just stop watching it weekly and just binge watch it.
I've been saying this from like episode 3. I think that everyone's problem is that they binge watched the first 2 seasons and now they want to watch it they don't want to wait. That's the issue. It's not that the slowest show. Oh my God. The show is slow, or like they're doing, they're not doing too much exposition. They're not doing, I don't think anything has been filler.
No.
I think everything has been important. And even if it's not directly related to the overarching plot and mystery, character development is still show. Like, it's still important.
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah.
Especially with Julie this season, because like she's one that's like really, her importance in the series is going way up now. But yeah, let's dive into it. So am I going first or are you going first?
I am.
Remember. Oh, you are. Okay. Yeah. Sorry.
No worries. Starting off, Boyd and Ellis are in the woods searching for Fatima with no luck. Boyd insists they head back to town as it's starting to get dark, but Ellis refuses until Boyd's Parkinson's starts to flare up. It gets the best of him and he stumbles. Ellis has to help pick him up and support him as they struggle to make their way back to town. In the root cellar, Fatima is sitting alone on the floor, nervously eyeballing the jars of blood across the room from her. Elgin enters with... Sorry, what were you saying?
I said, ugh.
Yeah. Let me just make one little note. That's a lot of blood. for
Yeah.
one person
Yeah.
to how did Elgin still have any physical ability to overpower Fatima when
Right?
he pumped out like half his body weight in blood in like a day? Is what we're meant to believe. Like,
Yeah.
he did that all at once, right? Like,
Yeah.
it's only been a day.
Yeah. Yeah. Pretty much.
Where's the rest of Elgin's blood?
He doesn't need blood. I don't know.
Yeah,
He's it's
full
it's
of
just the way the
spirit.
town works. Yeah. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like it's his girlfriend rubbing off on him.
Mm. It's full of ghoul juice.
Yes. Cool juice.
He doesn't need blood.
I love it.
Elgin enters with a bag of Fatima's things. She begs for him to let her go, but Elgin says she isn't a prisoner. He's trying to protect her. Fatima tells Elgin that she saw the kimono lady and she's not telling him the truth. She's lying. She says she knows what's growing inside her isn't good and it won't do good things. She brings up what happened to Tilly, but Elgin cuts her off, saying that it's because the baby was afraid and because she wasn't feeding it. Elgin crosses the room to grab one of the blood jars, and Fatima darts for the door while he's distracted, but he immediately comes back and stops her. Fatima begins to have those same pains in her stomach again, and Elgin tries to calm her down, telling her it'll be okay. He has her sit on the disgusting ass cot in what I'm calling the prehistoric birthing hole.
Yeah.
I can't think of a more unpleasant place to have a child. Gross.
Seriously.
Everything about that room is filthy.
Yeah.
Mm.
Agreed.
um, he tells her she needs to eat. If she does, the baby will get strong, and before she knows it, they'll all be going home. He reminds her that the baby already helped him once. The night she found out she was pregnant, he remembered his dream, and that's how Boyd saved the town. He holds out the bottle of blood for her to drink, and she reacts in disgust and tells him no. But he pleads with her to eat, reminding her how much he's helped him since he first arrived, and telling her that he just wants to return the favor. She continues to refuse until he basically airplanes the blood into her mouth like a toddler. And then she starts to drink it, and she's a little hesitant at first, but then takes the jug from his hands and slurps it down.
I don't understand why Elgin is being so weird about all of this. Like,
I think he's like a little hypnotized, maybe.
okay.
Like, I feel like he's definitely like under the influence of this entity, of this kimono woman. Like,
Yeah.
either he just believes her so strongly that like she's telling him the truth and that his actions are going to lead to rescuing everyone, and he's just got like a savior complex going on in his head, or he's under some kind of like mystical influence. That's the only two explanations I can think of for his behavior, because he's being so weird.
Yeah.
like
And
so weird.
I could see where, you know, if Kimono Lady wanted to target somebody, she would target him because, like, you know, the kid like risked his life to save people that he just met, you know?
Yeah,
Um so I could see why she would target him. But yeah, it's just the whole thing is just so bizarre.
it seems like she picked him before he even arrived in town because he had
Yeah.
that dream on the bus.
Yeah. Yeah. Um yeah, yeah, it's like, okay, the dream.
Mhm.
He said that, like, he remembered his dream when Fatima said that she was pregnant.
Mhm.
And he said, and that's how Boyd saved the town. Like, what does that mean?
I don't know. I really
I'm
don't know.
Like,
Did he ever tell us what his dream was? Like,
no,
I don't remember that.
no.
I remember him saying, "I remember my dream now,"
Yeah.
but I don't remember what it was. Or
Yeah.
if he ever says what it was.
Yeah, I don't think he did. I'm so confused. I'm confused about a lot.
I'm not sure about that.
Yeah.
Um, anyway, that takes us through the opening credits, and we move on to the church, where Sarah is chasing after Victor, who is saying his now famous catchphrase, "I don't want to talk anymore." Sarah tries to encourage him, but he says he's only making things worse. Sarah asks how, and he said if he had never said anything, his mother would have never, and he like trails off and starts to cry that he doesn't want to remember anymore. Tabitha comes up from behind him and grabs his arm, urging him to stop crying, when she's hit by this wave of like feelings or emotions, realization. We don't really know, but it stops her in her tracks, and she like is in a daze. And Victor
Yeah.
is not soothed by her this time. He says that he can't help her, he can't help anyone, and he takes off, um, leaving Sarah and Tabitha behind.
Yep.
Sarah sees the state that Tabitha's in, and she asks her what happened just now when she touched Victor's arm. And Tabitha whispers that she doesn't know. She turns to talk to Sarah when they are suddenly interrupted by Kenny entering. He tells Tabitha she needs to get to the clinic immediately. Something has happened to Julie in the woods. Tabitha immediately snaps out of her daze and rushes out of the church behind Kenny, leaving the concerned Sarah behind. Over at the clinic, Christy says Julie seems okay, and Julie concurs. She seems totally normal. Marielle brings her a glass of water, and she thanks her and literally pretends to take a sip, because we all know that Julie does not consume. Christy asks Julie what happened, and Julie explains that she got to the ruins, walked in, and blacked out. She claims not to remember anything. Marielle presses her a bit, but Julie says she just had a weird dream, and that's all. Satisfied, Christy says she'd still like to keep Julie for overnight observation with Jim's consent. Jim agrees, and Christy and Marielle exit to let the Matthews talk. Jim sits down on the bed and asks Julie why she and Ethan were out there, and Julie tells him it was stupid. She was out there yesterday with Randall, and then Jim cuts her off to have the most stereotypical man response ever. What are you doing in the woods with Randall?
He had the same reaction when she said she was up in Victor's room. Like,
yes, like, is there anyone you're planning on not accusing your daughter of sleeping with, or is it just the whole town? It's just up for grabs.
Yeah.
Yeah, his reaction sucked. Like,
Yeah.
it sucked. Could you give your daughter the benefit of the doubt for like even a moment?
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, Julie starts to explain, despite it being none of Jim's business, that it wasn't like that. And Tabitha rushes in, calling out Julie's name. She immediately asks Julie what happened and if she's all right, and she pulls her in for a hug. And seeing that there's anyone else with a pulse available to watch his kids, Jim immediately bails to go lecture someone else about not talking to his family.
It's just,
yeah.
I'm still one of my favorite Jim moments has to be in episode 4 when the ambulance went by, or when it was outside, and Jim's like, and Jim looks at Boyd. I think it was Boyd that was in the house.
It was
Maybe
Boyd
Victor.
and Randall. Yeah.
Oh, Boyd and Randall. Okay. And he was like, if there's even and Julie and Ethan were right there. And he's like, if there's even a chance my wife is out there, you do what you want.
You have a pulse. You watch my kids.
Yeah.
I gotta go.
Everybody always has to go on this show.
I know. No one is ever hanging around. They are not having a chat.
Yeah.
It's not happening.
Oh, man.
Down in the basement of the clinic, Randall is inspecting his face in the mirror. He tries to pull the bandage off when he starts to hear the cicada noises. He stumbles around the room trying to get the sound out of his head when Jim knocks on the door and it suddenly stops.
Why?
I don't know. It seems to only, well, I don't know. I was going to say it only seems to bother him when he's alone, but it happened in front of Julie in the last episode.
Yeah.
It seems like it starts happening to him right before someone else shows up. Like, so they can see him looking and acting crazy, maybe? I don't know.
Yeah, it's very strange. I don't
Yeah.
understand that.
Those cicadas, I don't like I feel like it has to be the town. Like it has to be the town fucking with him, but like is it possible that it's just like a stress induced hallucination or like PTSD?
That's like when it stopped like that, that's what made me think that it might be.
Yeah.
It just stopped so suddenly like that, you know?
Because he sees them. I feel like maybe he has to even feel them on him when, he's being swarmed the way he reacts, but
Yeah.
I don't know. It's very strange.
I mean, like, as somebody who understands PTSD from a firsthand basis,
Mhm.
I mean, it is very much like that. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not hearing cicadas in my head, but
I dissociate when yeah.
it's like what traumatized you is happening to you at the moment.
Mhm.
It happens that way a lot. So it could be, I mean, that could be it.
It sucks. I really hope he finds a fix for that soon because it is driving him crazy.
Yeah.
Like it seems awful.
Yeah. Yeah.
Randall asks what he can do for him, and Jim asks why he and Julie were out in the woods yesterday. Randall tells him if this is his version of the big bad dad talk, that he's not in the fucking mood. LOL.
I love when people put Jim in his place.
Me too. I watch a whole episode of people talking shit on Jim.
Yeah.
We're almost pretty close. Jim says after what happened with him and Julie and Marielle, Julie won't talk to him and he doesn't understand what she's going through, but he's hoping that Randall might. Randall softens a little bit and tells him that he was teaching Julie to drive. Jim is taken aback by this and immediately switches back into dick mode. And Randall continues that they took the Colony House van and were driving. He got freaked out by something, and they ended up in the woods. Jim asks about the ruins, but Randall is done sharing. He says he has his own shit going on, and he told Julie to stay away from the ruins because they felt wrong. Jim asks how they felt wrong, and Randall says, they just fucking did, Jim. Which I loved.
Yeah.
He asks if they're done here, and Jim turns to leave, but Randall offers him one more piece of advice. He tells him to go get the car and teach Julie to drive, because there's fuck all they can do about the rest of it. None of us are getting out of here alive. Jim says he doesn't accept that and leaves. Randall mockingly says, well, good for you then, to the closed door.
I really liked that.
Yeah.
He was like, okay, Jim, even Randall is giving you parenting advice now.
Yeah,
Like,
right.
I mean,
the
come
guy
on.
who lives on the bus is like, can you watch your kids?
Yeah. Oh my
Your
God.
daughter is like 17 and doesn't know how to drive.
Yeah.
It's not on anyone else here. She's been here for 4 months. Not
Yep.
even.
Oh.
At the sheriff's station, Boyd limps in and hurries to grab his bell. Elgin urges him to rest, but Boyd insists that he's fine. The sun is going down and he needs to ring that bell. Ellis said he's not fine, whatever's going on with him, and Boyd cuts him off. He knows what's going on with him. Ellis is surprised by this, and Boyd says he's known for a while. He tries to get Ellis to sit down and talk, but Ellis clearly wants to leave to go search for Fatima. Boyd insists that wherever she is, she's okay. She has the talisman. He tells Ellis they need to talk, and Ellis finally sits. At Colony House, they prepare to bed down for the evening, and Donna walks around, lost in thought. She's remembering Fatima's 1-year anniversary and the speech she gave. We see a flashback to that moment in season 1 and how happy everyone is, or was, before we come back to see Donna, teary-eyed, staring at the place where Fatima once stood. Back at the clinic, Tabitha asks if the kids are asleep, and Jim says yes. Ethan has finally knocked out. Tabitha says she could have stayed with Julie, and Jim should have taken Ethan home. Jim jokingly asks, and miss all the fun? Who doesn't like a sleepover?
Because apparently
Jim says, sorry, go ahead.
He doesn't, because apparently he's not used to spending the night with his wife and kids all.
Of course, no.
Oh man.
Jim says, like, one of the first self-aware things he says in the entire series, and says that he hasn't been doing a very good job, and that he supports Tabitha trying to make sense of all of this, and if there's any shot that what she's doing will get them home, he supports her 100%. They embrace, and Tabitha says there is something that Julie isn't telling them. Jim agrees.
Yeah, I like that he said no more second guessing.
Yes, that he's 100% supports. Like, how many people had to tell you?
Yeah,
to support your fucking lot. Like, she is trying to get everyone home.
Yeah,
like, it's not like she's like, seeing Marie Antoinette in the mirror or something. Like, it's not like she's doing something completely irrational and insane. They're in a monster hellhole, and she's trying to get them out.
Or starting from and on.
Yeah. Which he did.
Yes, he did.
Like, someone here is using their time constructively, and it's not Jim.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Back at the sheriff's station, Ellis asks Boyd how long he's known about the Parkinsons, and Boyd tells him since right before he left to go into the woods with Sarah. Ellis asks who else knows, and he tells him Christy, and then more hesitantly admits Kenny knows too. Ellis asks if he's stumbled like that before, and Boyd says no. Ellis says so that it seems like it's getting worse, and Boyd confirms. He tells Ellis that he has something else to tell him, and he tells him about being in the barn with Tien Chen and them forcing him to watch her die. He says the whole thing was a setup to break him. He posits that what's happening to Fatima is a similar attempt. Ellis protests, saying that it wasn't his fault, but Boyd continues that it certainly seems that way, till he's dead and Fatima's gone, and he's sitting there like a gimp. That's his word, not mine.
Yeah.
Just then, there's a knock at the window, and one of the female monsters calls out sweetly, "You okay in there, Boyd?" I died.
Yes.
I died. You okay in there, Boyd? Like, she's so funny.
Oh my God.
This pisses Boyd off to the max. He gets out of his chair saying, "What the fuck did you just say?" While walking over to the window. Ellis tries to stop him, but Boyd yanks the blinds up to reveal a recasted nurse monster.
Yeah.
Not the traditional nurse monster.
Yeah, I thought she was. Yeah, because this nurse monster seemed shorter and skinnier,
Younger.
and younger. Yeah.
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 I was not that I don't know if there's maybe more than one nurse monster.
Maybe there is.
I think her hat was different. She's wearing like a slightly different style hat than the other one, but
okay,
definitely not the nurse monster we're used to seeing.
Yeah.
She smiles up at Boyd, and Boyd pulls his gun, shouting for her to shut her fucking mouth.
Because that's effective.
Yeah, right? What are you going to do?
Yeah.
Shoot out the window and have monsters swarm the station? Like,
yeah.
Not a good plan. She makes a gun with her fingers and smiles mockingly at him as he and Ellis drags Boyd away from the window. At Sarah's house, she's putting the final touches on the snowman ornament she made with her brother Nathan. Finally finished repairing it after Kenny smashed it in season 2.
I can't believe she put that thing back together.
I know, that dollar store snowman.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah,
so
that's kind of crazy.
creepy. She got it to work though. Good for her.
Yeah.
Good for the art department. um, just as she sets it on the counter to admire it, she says, "What?" out loud to no one. Suddenly, she begins clutching her head and screaming, covering her ears and begging something to leave her alone.
Why do you think it happened at that moment? It seems so weird to me that, like, she had just finished putting this ornament
Mhm.
back together, and then the voices chose to talk to her for the first time in a while.
Yeah. I think because she maybe was doing something connected to Nathan, and the last time the voices stopped talking to her when Nathan died. So she's like,
Yeah.
I mean, I think they were going to use her for this anyway, regardless of what she was doing, but they just caught her at an extra good moment because she was like remembering Nathan and how the voices, like, they were like, it's basically like being like, remember what happened the last time you ignored us, in my head.
Yeah. Yeah, that would make sense. That would make sense.
Um, Back at the root cellar, Elgin is making sure he's alone before sneaking back down. Fatima is sitting on the floor trying to break off a piece of the bed to use as a weapon. She succeeds just as Elgin enters and hides it quickly. Elgin is happy to see her. "Look at you," he exclaims. She is hugely pregnant,
Yeah.
looking close to 6 months along in just a few hours. "I told you things would go faster once you started to eat. The baby's going to be here in no time." Elgin is eerily upbeat. It
Yeah.
is creepy.
It is. Like, I don't understand it, man.
He pulls a dingy nightgown that looks like 100 other women have given birth in it. He tells her she should put this on because her own clothing soon will not fit. He apologizes and says that he had to get it from the main storage because he didn't want to risk going up into her room. Fatima asks if he'll help her up off the floor, and he rushes to comply. As soon as he gets over there, she immediately swings on him with her makeshift tool and slices a piece of his arm. Elgin backs up in pain, and Fatima runs for the door. She manages to throw it open and scream for help as Elgin pulls her back in and the door closes again.
Um, I really quick, just going back to
Mhm.
the scene with Sarah and the voices.
Mhm.
Um, what you said just made me think about. So I shared a new theory with Jazzy that I have. Um, and I won't go into too much about why I'm theorizing about this or anything. But because it would take forever. But basically, it's just okay. So Julie time traveled. We know that,
Mhm.
and she threw Boyd the rope.
Mhm.
I'm starting to think that Boyd died in the well,
So
and
you think that time is linear and that he died there originally and she went back and changed it?
that's what I'm thinking.
Okay.
Um, and the
Excuse
thing
me.
is, if Boyd had not made it back to town, I believe that Sarah would have been put in the box.
Oh, for
It's,
sure.
he was the only one
Yeah,
keeping her out.
Kotri would not have been able to keep her out of there on his own.
Um, and if you remember Kelly, the girl who had the rod through her head,
Mhm.
what you said about Sarah, like about the voices talking to her. Um, when I watched that episode back recently with Kelly, and I think she was hearing the voices. Um, because she said something like she got really quiet and she said, "Do you hear that?" And she started screaming, and
Yeah,
I initially thought that it was because she started feeling like,
the the rod. Yeah.
yeah, but I think she started screaming because of the voices. Um, And I think it's possible that she might have supposed to have been Sarah's replacement if Boyd had
That makes
died.
sense.
And she started, like, if that's what was happening, if she was hearing the voices, it happened right after she started talking about her mom. So that's kind of an interesting link there. I'm actually wondering if we might see her pop up again.
That would be interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, now that there's time travel, what isn't possible?
Yeah. And I mean, Sarah was basically like, Sarah had made it back just before that. And so like they let Kelly die because they didn't need her.
They still had Sarah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah. All right. Sorry.
No, you're good. And that's an interesting theory.
Yeah.
And it ties into what we're talking about.
Yeah.
See you today. Sorry. Trying to get my cat to sit down. Chill instead of being an infinite asshole.
Aw.
It's morning at the sheriff's station, and Ellis wants to be in the search immediately. Boyd says they can't just head out there blind. She could be anywhere. He suggests getting a search party together, but Ellis says no one will help once Donna tells everyone what Fatima did. Boyd says he'll talk to Donna, and Ellis says, great, let me know how that goes, and begins to leave. He stopped when Sarah enters, apologizing for interrupting, but telling them this can't wait. She asks if Fatima's okay, and then seeing their looks of surprise, continues. She's missing, isn't she? Ellis immediately gets angry and asks her what she knows, but Boyd stops him and bids Sarah to continue. She says that she heard the voices last night for the first time since the ruins. She says that Fatima didn't leave on her own. Someone took her, and she's close by and she's afraid. She says the voices were laughing because they know they won't be able to find her in time. She says they want Boyd to know he can't save her. At Colony House, Victor is trashing his room like he's an 80s rock star in a hotel.
Okay, does he not care that there are people outside that
at all
that he could kill?
He tossed a sled. Like he was tossing dangerous shit out the window.
Like, what the fuck, Victor?
He is tossing shit out the window. Clara runs in and asks what's happening. He is having a full meltdown, saying that he kept all these items because he thought they would help, but they only hurt. He wants them all gone, he shouts, tossing the sled out the window. Victor shouts. He broke into
the cocaine stash.
Yeah. He's trying to get out the window before Acosta shows up to bust him.
Yeah. Yeah, he Jade stole his violin, so he stole Jade's coke.
It's all coming together.
Yeah.
Victor shouts, bring Acosta and Kenny running up the stairs. He tries to run past them, but Acosta stops him. He yells for her to get out of his way, and Kenny pulls her aside to let Victor through. He runs down the stairs with Kenny and Acosta following closely behind. Victor runs into the kitchen pantry and grabs Donna's angry axe. Kenny asks what's going on, and he says he's not going to hurt anyone. Kenny tells Victor that he's scaring people, and Victor says, good, they aren't scared enough. No one is scared enough.
Okay, Reggie.
Right?
He's totally acting like Reggie right now.
Relax, bro. He tells them that he needs to leave, and Acosta says they will let him if he tells them why he needs the axe. He says he's going to chop down a tree. Over at the diner, the Matthews family arrives for breakfast and are greeted by Bacta. Jim says he's happy to see the place open again, and Bacta expresses her gratitude for Ethan's help getting it ready to open and tells him he's always welcome to come back and help. He says that he thinks it was hard on Kenny to see the diner closed, and after Tilly died, everyone needs something that feels normal. Julie asks if anyone knows who killed Tilly yet, and Bacta says they do not know. There is an uncomfortable pause before she encourages them to go get food. In Donna's room, she's staring at a picture of the picture of her sister when there's a knock at the door. It's Boyd. He begins to say that he knows Donna is mad at him, but she cuts him off, saying that she is not going to tell anyone about Fatima. She says she means too much to the people of this town, and she doesn't think that they can take it. She also doesn't think that she can take it. Boyd tells her that Fatima is gone. He tells her the voices that Sarah hears told them that something took her, but she's close by, and that they won't be able to find her until it's too late. He tells her the voices were laughing. Donna says, "Fuck this place. Ring the bell and we'll call a meeting." At the diner, Julie is eating. No. I observed. I rewound 3 times. You cannot confirm that Julie is eating.
Okay, but
She is seen chewing.
Yeah.
But we never see her put food in her mouth. But you said you saw her eating. Yeah.
Yeah, I told Jazzy before we recorded that I can't remember what exact episode it was, but it was when it was in season 2, and it was season 2, right? Yeah, I think. There was a scene in the diner with Tabitha and the kids, and Ethan wanted to go see Victor, and she said, no, not right now, he's resting or something like that. And she was trying to get Julie to eat, and he I think it was right after the house collapse. And she was trying to get Julie to eat, and Julie said she wasn't hungry, and she begged her to eat. And I did actually see Julie put food in her mouth, pick up something from a plate and put it in her mouth.
I'm gonna have to go look it up. I'm going to have to go look it up. It is desperately important for me to know this. Tabitha asks Ethan if he doesn't like his food, and he says he misses Tien Chen's pancakes.
Aww.
Ethan gets up to go to the bathroom, and Julie says the issue is that he feels like what happened to her is his fault. He told her to go into the ruins, and she blames herself for asking him what to do. She also says the perfect family breakfast they're doing isn't helping anything and only making things worse. Donna and Boyd show up, ringing the bell, and gather everyone for a meeting. And this is the halfway point, if you'd like to take over.
Sure. So outside the diner, the town is gathering around for the meeting. Ellis asks what's happening, but Boyd says it's okay. Donna starts saying that they don't have answers about Tilly yet. Boyd tells everyone that Fatima is missing, and Donna explains that they need volunteers to search. Someone in the crowd asks if what took Fatima is what killed Tilly. Boyd says they don't know. He says all they know is that she's close by. And someone asks how he knows that. And Boyd tells him something in the town told them. And fortunately, they didn't press him too much about it.
Right.
Because I feel like if he had shared that Sarah.
Yeah, they would not have trusted it coming from Sarah.
Yeah.
They were ready to go burn Sarah's house down. Right then.
Yeah. So he said it told them that she was close by, alone, and scared, and that it doesn't believe they'll be able to find her. And he says he can't tell anyone what to do. He pulls a talisman out of his pocket and reminds them that they found them, proving the town couldn't break them. And now something is trying once again to break them, and they can either lay down and die, or they can say "fuck you." And the whole crowd murmurs in agreement because everyone loves a good F-bomb from Boyd.
Oh, yeah.
Bacta asks how they're going to pull this off, and he says that they're going to pair off and search every inch of the town. Everyone agrees, and people split off into pairs. Julie tells her parents she wants to help search because Fatima's her friend. Ethan also wants to help, so Jim agrees to take Ethan, and Julie goes with Tabitha. And then they split up, and Boyd tells Ellis that there's going to be a lot of questions, and it's best if one of them finds Fatima. So they agree to split up, so that they have more chances of one of them finding her. And Boyd assures him they're going to find her. He asks Kenny to search with him, and Elgin offers to pair up with Ellis, which was very strange.
Elgin is so creepy in this whole episode.
I know.
He's so creepy. His like whole demeanor just completely flipped since the last episode.
Yeah, I don't get why he decided to go with Ellis. That was very strange.
Yeah.
Ugh.
I mean, I'm assuming to lead Ellis away, to like keep Ellis from finding her.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, that would make sense.
Being like, oh, let's look over here, you know, and like not get anywhere close to where she actually is.
Yeah. Yeah, that would make sense. Back at the root cellar, Fatima is in the world's grodiest nightgown, and her belly is goddamn huge now.
It's terrifying.
Yeah, it is. She's struggling to get up to take off her shoes, and she falls and suddenly notices something on the floor. She finds a metal. She digs a little bit and finds a metal ring, and she discovers that it's a hatch. So she starts digging to try to uncover it. In the woods, Donna and Acosta are searching together, and Acosta says she doesn't understand why they're out there. And Donna, like, what a dick.
I don't understand why Acosta thinks she's like, I'm a cop. Why don't you trust me? Like I'm a cop. Why won't you guys just tell me everything? Why am I not a part of the leadership? Like, you got here yesterday. Can you chill the fuck out? Like, let people build a relationship with you. You already murdered someone. Like, you think everyone, the leadership of this town is just dying to trust you? Get out of here.
Yeah. Yeah. And you're bitching about, like, you know, not helping find Fatima.
I know. Like, complaining about being on a, like, this is your chance to be like, to be a cop. Like, go find this girl then if you're such a good cop.
Yeah. Exactly.
You know, I love the police, so I'm not biased against her in any way.
But yeah, she, like, Donna tells her to, you know, go the fuck back to Colony House if she doesn't want to help. Acosta asks what Boyd meant by something told them, and Donna explains that it came from Sarah. And she says, "Oh, Sarah the murderer? Excuse you." Like,
Acosta the murderer.
Yes.
Oh, have we talked about the Acosta first name thing?
I don't know if we talked on the show about it or not.
I don't think so. Can we drop that in right here? Is
yes,
this a good moment?
Let's discuss that really quick if we didn't.
So in an interview, I think last week, Sam Brown, that plays Officer Acosta, said they haven't disclosed her first name and she can't tell it to anyone because it's a plot point. And I told Kelly, I think her first name is going to be like Abby or Abigail. And it's going to tie back into the like Brian Kelly thing that like freaked Boyd out so bad in the first season. I think she's going to like make a challenge on his leadership. And hearing that her name is actually Abigail is going to like fuck him up and make him think that he's doing the wrong thing, or like, I don't know. I feel like it's right for drama.
Yeah. I think that's a great theory. I also threw out the possibility that maybe her name is Christine or Christina, and she's going to say that she was named after her father, Christopher, because they never found his body. They never found his body, so I bet Christopher got out of there.
I've heard another person posit that she's Eloise. Ageless Eloise. Eloise, who can anywhere from 70 to 25.
Oh my God.
Oh, like, is there a female character who hasn't been accused of being Eloise? That's what I want to know. Bacta, I think that's it.
Yeah. and Alma.
Well, it's definitely Alma.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Oh God. But anyway, where was I? Yeah. So Donna explains that it's complicated and Sarah's connected to Fromville in ways that are hard to understand. And Akasha asks, how do they know that Sarah didn't murder Tilly and Fatima and just make up a lie to play it off? And Donna says she knows that's not what happened. And Acosta is, oh God, I hate this woman.
Yeah, she sucks.
She's just like demanding answers, insisting that Donna knows something and won't tell her. And
it's none of your fucking business.
Yeah, exactly. You just got there and killed
You're
somebody.
not the law here.
Yeah. But she's frustrated with being kept on the outside, insisting she's a good cop and she could be an asset if they'd fill her in. Donna tells her she doesn't have time to give her a tutorial on all the different ways that this place will fuck with your head. Fatima's out there and they need to find her because of what she means to the people of this town and to her. And if Akasha wants her approval, to trust her and help her. And when this is over, they can talk. And finally, thank goodness, Akasha agrees. Kenny and Boyd are searching another part of the forest, and Boyd tells Kenny that he's been meaning to check in on him at Colony House to see what he's doing. And Kenny says he understands that, he's been dealing with some bigger things. And Boyd tells him he understands that things will never be the same between them since he lied about Sarah and his dad, and he knows that Kenny will never be able to fully forgive him. But he tells him that running the town comes with a mess of decisions that you don't want to make, and that people live and die based on those decisions. And Kenny's like, what's going on here, bro?
What's happening?
Yeah. And Boyd tells him his Parkinson's is getting worse. And he tells Kenny, like, well, it won't be tomorrow or even a few months. There's a clock ticking, and that he needs to know that Kenny will take over for him if he can't do the job anymore. He says he tells him it has to be him and not Acosta or some other hothead, but to look after the town and his family. And Kenny tells him he's not taking his badge, but he will take the deputy badge back. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I love that, like, Boyd had the foresight to see that Acosta might be a problem with the leadership in the future.
Yeah.
And be like, no, I'm naming a successor now. I'm not letting her become the default leader if something happens to me.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's cool. Kenny's the deputy again. He can put his deputy shirt back on. Outside the bar, Jade is climbing a ladder to hang bottles in the tree outside. And he gets a bottle up there and then turns and sees Christopher just hanging out on the roof with Jasper. Yeah.
Sunbathing.
Yeah. Just hanging out there with Jasper, like sitting in his lap on the roof. And this was such a this scene was so weird to me because, I'm like, because I've been convinced for a while now that Jade is the reincarnation of Christopher.
Mm-hmm.
So it was just really weird. It was almost like he was looking in a mirror.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But Jade tells Christopher doesn't actually say anything in the scene.
Because then they have to pay him.
Yeah, exactly. Jade tells Christopher that he's seen enough of you people and their ghostly appearances aren't doing anything for him anymore. And that better not mean that Tom won't come back. That would suck.
Yeah.
But he tells them to try something new, and Jasper suddenly lets out his signature Jasper scream. And and I think that TV shows and movies should replace the Wilhelm scream with the Jasper scream.
Yeah. Much more effective.
Yeah. So, Jade gets startled and almost falls off the ladder. I mean, he's hanging there.
Yeah.
Henry rushes over to help and asks who he was talking to, and Jade says no one. And Henry's like, okay, who do you think you were talking to? And Jade just wants to be left alone. He's like, oh my God, people stop talking to me. Jade doesn't like it when people talk to him.
No, he does not.
And,
He does not appreciate Henry's presence here at all.
No, he doesn't. Henry asks if he's building the bottle tree, and he mentions his wife built one in their yard, and Jade just gets annoyed and kind of rolls his eyes, and he's like, yeah, so you've told me.
So you keep telling me.
And Henry asks if it's to help understand the numbers, and Jade's like, dude, is there something I could help you with? And he says most of the town is out looking for Fatima, and Jade has no idea what's going on, so Henry fills him in.
He had not heard.
Yeah. Yeah. He's yeah. Henry fills him in, letting him know that there was a whole meeting about it, and Henry doesn't know that Jade doesn't do meetings.
Jade doesn't do meetings.
Yeah.
If it's more than 3 people, Jade will not be attending.
Exactly. Henry asks if Jade will be his search buddy so that they can talk about Victor. And Victor is approaching the lighthouse bottle tree with the axe, and he starts chopping, which like this tiny little axe.
Yeah, it's such a random chop too. Like,
yeah,
high top. Like, he was never going to be able to chop that way enough times to make a dent there. Like,
yeah, it's very strange. Yeah, he gets in 2 swings before he's stopped by the man in white, which I'm calling
the 17-year-old in white. Yeah,
like his voice has totally changed. My God.
Kid with a driver's license in white, whatever you want to go with.
Oh my God. Yeah, he sounds like a 35-year-old who's been like hitting the booze.
At least smoking cigarettes.
Yeah. But Victor tells him that it's a bad tree that does bad things, and the boy in white tells him that it's important, and he asks why he won't help them, and the boy in white says he tried to help them with Christopher, and that he thinks they need to figure it out for themselves. It's the only way they'll understand. And I have some thoughts on this.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a painting, I think it was one of the paintings in the Kavanaugh basement with the lighthouse, and it looked like a bunch of people falling out of it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm wondering if either like everyone has to go through the lighthouse together or something, or if they need to travel back in time and save the kids by going through the lighthouse. You know what I mean?
That makes sense, yeah.
But clearly the tree is important, and and the boy in white says like it's the only way you'll understand, and he told Tabitha before he pushed her out, this is the only way.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm not entirely sure which of those I'm leaning toward, but clearly there needs to be some more lighthouse throwing going on. And Victor said, Victor asks the boy in white, he tells me he looks different now, and which cracked me up.
Yeah.
It was so funny.
He's like, you look different.
Like, first time I've ever seen a child a child having a growth spurt explained on TV.
Yeah, I actually loved that they explain that away. It's just like everyone is complaining about the kids getting older, which is annoying, like suspend your disbelief. But I like that they actually took the time to explain his aging away, because they can do that mystically with just his character, and it's a nice touch.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, the boy in white says, "Well, so do you." Ouch. He's getting snarky. And Victor says that he looked the same all those years and asks why he's changing now. And the boy in white says everything is changing now, which I have said for a long time that I think that's because the right people are in the town together. Victor asks if this is bad, and he says he doesn't know what to do. He begs him to help him, and he's like crying, which like it broke my heart. And he said, "You're supposed to be my friend." And he says he is Victor's friend, and he asks him to tell him what to do, and the boy in white says, "Don't cut down that tree." And then he just walks off. Elgin and Ellis are searching for Fatima together, and Elgin is telling Ellis about a friend of his who got lost when they were kids, and they found him on a playground, and everyone had been scared for nothing. Ellis gets super upset about that and asks if he really thinks everyone is scared for nothing. I'm like, yeah, I'd be kind of pissed at that too.
Yeah, it was not a good story.
Yeah,
not helpful
at all. He tells Elgin that they're not looking for a kid on a playground, and that he already lost his mother, and he doesn't feel like he can lose his wife too. Elgin's surprised by this. He didn't realize that Ellis's mom was in Fromville, and Ellis says that he can't go through losing another person like that again. Jim and Ethan are searching near the RV, and Ethan asks if Jim thinks Fatima might be in there, and Jim says no. Why?
Right?
Why wouldn't they check in there?
Yeah, you might as well. She could be anywhere.
Yeah, because like if she was stuck out there and and had to like, I don't know, and was hurt and couldn't get back to the shack or something, and she was near the RV, it's shelter. But of course, she doesn't have a talisman though. But they don't know that.
She does.
Oh yeah, she does.
She does.
Yeah,
she took the one out of the hut anyway.
Yeah. But he said, yeah, it's best to check everywhere, and that this will be a good place to talk. And Jim reminds him of the last time that Ethan was in the RV and how hurt he was and how Jim blamed himself because he was driving. And Ethan said it wasn't his fault, because Jim was scared and he was doing the best that he could. And Jim says, like you were when you told Julie to go into the ruins, weren't you doing the best you could? And he tells Ethan that the town wants them to blame themselves. It wants them to be scared. But what matters is that they take care of each other and they do their best. That was really sweet. Like, we got a sweet Jim moment.
I know. It was very cute.
Yeah. But they have a nice little hug and head out to look for Fatima. And then the radio starts crackling, and we hear the voice of Thomas calling out, and he says, "Dad, are you there? Please don't leave me alone." And Ethan tells Jim to come on, that he's right, it's not Thomas. And they leave the RV as Thomas is asking where they're going, and starts laughing in a very sinister fashion.
That thing's a horrible monster for sure.
Yeah.
Ugh, so creepy.
Yeah, for sure. By the way, if anybody's wondering, the channel number was 16, in case anybody's curious about that.
Good catch.
And I noticed that today, and it makes me want to go back and watch episode 6 of seasons 1 and 2. See if Like, because there could be a connection there. Because like The Walking Dead has done that before. Where numbers were actually a reference to like a particular episode.
Interesting.
And if it's episode 16, then that would mean it would be season 2, episode 6. If it's or it could be like season 1, episode 6. You know, or it could mean nothing at all, or it could be a reference to something else. But I'm totally gonna go back and watch both of the episode 6 of both seasons 1 and 2 again now. And see if anything happened in there that was interesting that could relate back to any of this. But Tabitha and Julie are searching in Victor's box truck, but obviously Fatima's not there. And Julie asks if they're just going to start getting picked off one by one. And, you know, Tabitha tries to make her feel better and says, no, it's not going to be like that. And she begins to head off to search somewhere else when Julie says she doesn't think she was dreaming when she blacked out in the ruins. And she tells Tabitha about the experience and about her being in the chamber with herself and Randall and Marielle, and about seeing Martin and then hearing her mom's voice and Victor's in the tunnels and hearing the children scream Ankui. Okay. What are we thinking about this? Do you have any thoughts on Julie hearing the kids?
I didn't realize that's what she was hearing in that
Yeah.
scene when it happened. I'm wondering if that's the screaming she's been hearing the whole time, like when she mentions that she's been hearing screams. But I mean, yeah, it means something that she can hear them. Like no one else has heard them at all except for Tabitha, and Jade's seen them and heard them, but that's it, just them.
What if Julie was one of the Ankui kids?
Cycling back through.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense.
If Randall and Marielle could
2 or 3 girls.
too. What's that?
There's multiple girls.
Yeah. Yeah, it could be like that the 3 of them were Ankui kids.
I could see that.
Yeah. But yeah, that's really interesting.
Julie had a sticky past.
Yeah. Julie says that she was afraid she was lost forever and she was going to be alone now. And like she did such a great job in this scene. Like
I love the scene.
Yeah. I mean, she really just seemed so completely terrified and traumatized, and
it's so hard to like voice that when you're having it's like, I mean, they have the whole additional element of it being mystical and, you know, terrifying, but when you're having those like PTSD flashbacks and you're having those dissociative moments where you're like, what in front of you isn't real, it's so hard to tell people about that and like,
yeah,
feel like people are going to understand you and they're not going to think you're crazy and they're not going to think you're exaggerating. And like, it was so brave of her to finally like come clean about it and talk to her parents about it, because it's obviously she's been struggling with it all season.
Yeah.
I loved the scene. I'm really glad she like took this moment to reclaim her peace.
Yeah, absolutely. So they Tabitha tells her that she'll never be alone there, and she gives her a big hug. And she then sees one of the kids over Julie's shoulder. Now Julie does not see the kid. Tabitha is telling her this, and she says that it's that the girl is asking them to follow her, and so they do. We cut back to Henry and Jade, and Henry's telling Jade that everything with Victor feels like starting out with a new person as they look for, he tells him this while they're looking for Fatima. Yeah, obviously.
Yeah.
Like, last time he saw Victor, he was like 10.
Yeah. He's gonna be a different person now.
Yeah. And Jade asks why Henry came to him. And Henry, I loved this.
Yeah.
Henry said that Jade reminds him of Victor. Which I love, because I love drawing the parallels between those two. There are a lot of them. And they remind me quite a bit of each other as well.
Yeah, me too.
And he said that, like, Victor was trying to make a puppet tell a story, and Jade is up on the ladder screaming at people who aren't there. And Jade's like, yeah, that's
That's
fair.
fair. All right.
Because
You got me.
Jade is surprisingly one of the most self-aware characters.
Mm-hmm.
It really is. But Henry asks Jade, like, what he would want his dad to say if he showed up in this situation. And Jade tells him, well, first of all, I'd like to know where he's been all my life. So we already knew that Jade was raised by his grandmother and then uncle after his grandmother died. Like, I hope we get to find out more about that.
Yeah. Yeah. Me too.
And I'm also curious about his name. Jade's last name is Herrera.
Yeah.
But David Alpay is Armenian.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think that they would cast an Armenian actor to play someone like with a Hispanic or Latino background.
Mm-hmm. I mean, this year maybe they wouldn't.
Yeah.
Until like 4 years ago, they absolutely would.
Yeah.
Almost every Native American in like the history of Hollywood has been played by someone with a Hispanic background and not a Native American background. Like,
yeah,
it's the casting only just now. I said this when people were saying that Elgin was Fatima and Ellis's kid, and I'm like, they wouldn't cast a full black man to play someone who's a quarter black and half Iranian. Like, that doesn't make any sense. And people fought me tooth and nail about that.
It's so crazy.
I know. I hate that theory.
Yeah.
But I would hope that they wouldn't do that. I really would hope that they wouldn't do that, but I also like wouldn't rule it out.
Yeah.
It's not something that has completely gone away. Like, they're doing it's so much better now. They're really trying to cast true to type and write more types of characters from more, more types of people, but Armenians are very underrepresented in Hollywood.
Yeah.
There are very few. Like, they did a movie about the Armenian genocide, and Oscar Isaac was like the main character, and he's not Armenian. Like, David Alpay is right there.
Yeah.
Exactly. Oscar Isaac. Like,
oh my gosh. It's crazy. But yeah, I hope we do find out more about Jade's backstory.
Me too. His backstory is fascinating, what we've gotten so far.
Yeah.
I would love to know more about him.
Same. But he Henry asked Jade like what he would, so yeah, Jade says the thing about his dad, and he tells Henry to stop trying to fix Victor because he isn't broken and he's a product of the environment. And he says that Victor is basically Tarzan, and Henry is the guy who makes him feel like an asshole for not knowing how to use a fork. I loved that line.
Yeah. I loved him saying can't fix him because he's not broken. That's very important.
Yeah, definitely. And especially since like Henry said that exact same thing last week about Miranda.
Yeah.
And so I'm sure that resonated with him,
Mm-hmm.
Jade then heads back to the bar because Fatima must be in there.
It's the only place he's comfortable.
Yeah. Elgin and Ellis are at the Brundles, and Elgin mentions Fatima bringing him there when he first got there because she was his proxy and she helped him a lot. And Ellis says that's what she does. She helps people. Elgin says he's sorry for what happened to Ellis's mom, and he tells him he won't lose Fatima. It won't come to that. And Ellis asks him to stop And then Elgin tells Ellis that he needs to tell him something. And he brings up the dream he had on the bus, saying that ever since then, he feels like something is trying to talk to him. And he asks, like, what if all of this is happening for a good reason? Maybe Fatima is out there helping everyone for the baby.
Sure.
Yeah. Alice is like, why would the baby be involved, dude? And
Elgin's so suspicious.
I know.
Yeah,
I know.
deeply sus.
Elgin is basically me if I was doing something sneaky, because that's how I would. That's exactly how I would be.
Guys, I don't have a secret. Everything
Yeah.
is fine, and good things are happening. Like,
but yeah, Elgin says, you know, they don't have all the information yet, and he doesn't want Ellis to be afraid, and he thinks she'll be okay. I don't think you're making Ellis feel better at this point. I think you're kind of freaking him out. Back at the root cellar, Fatima is trying to open the hatch, but she can't get it open. And she sits back and in just pain and frustration. And then Kimono Woman appears and freaks Fatima the fuck out. Outside, Julie and Tabitha are following the little sticky girl, and Tabitha says they've never done this before. The kids have never done that before. Back to Fatima, she screams, "What do you want from me?" at the kimono lady, and the kimono woman holds up a finger and tells Fatima to shut her damn mouth.
she gives her a shush.
Yeah.
Rude lady who shushes.
Yes. And she backs Fatima onto the bed. I thought it was going to start getting kinky for a second there.
What is happening here? I don't like it. We're here for Ghoul Jen.
Yeah.
Not Fat Jen. That's not okay. Oh no, that wouldn't work.
No, it would be Fat Mono.
Damn it. Ghoul Mono. Fat Mono. I'm terrible at these.
Fat Mono.
I keep putting the same one in the Fat Mono's great.
Yeah. But she begs her to leave her alone, and she holds her, the kimono lady just holds her down and puts her hand over Fatima's mouth. Back to the sticky girl. She leads Tabitha and Julie to the root cellar, and Tabitha tells Julie to stay behind. But when she touches the door of the cellar, she's hit with another wave like she was in the church. And Julie calls out to her, and Tabitha snaps out of it, and she starts walking down the stairs. Fatima is trying to scream to try to be heard in the next room, but she's being muffled by her hand is covered, or her mouth is covered by kimono lady. Tabitha reaches the bottom of the stairs and finds Victor pulling his best Blair Witch Project. Like just standing in the corner. Like, that's immediately what I thought of.
What the fuck is he doing in there? He put himself in timeout.
Yeah. He was throwing too many tantrums and put himself in timeout. Oh my god. That's great. But so yeah, it's she asked him what he's doing there, and he says that this is where it happened. This is where she left us. And he said all those years he thought that there was a reason that he lived, but he was the reason that she died. This made me sob when I saw it.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Just
It's
fucking
so
heartbreaking.
Like, I he can't. They know there's no way for him to know, but he has to know it's not his fault. Like,
I know.
yeah, he gave her the information, but she made the choice. Like,
Yeah.
It's so sad.
God, poor Victor.
I know.
Oh,
Every episode he becomes more of a tragic character.
I know. I just want to give him a hug so badly.
Mhm.
Tabitha tells Victor that it wasn't his fault. He was just a little boy. And she hugs him, and she's suddenly just pulled back into a flashback. And she sees Miranda leaving Victor and Eloise, and Tabitha just pulls away from Victor. And he and Julie are asking her what's wrong, and she screams, "No, it's impossible," and just runs out of the cellar. And she keeps seeing Miranda's memories, and she's running through the woods, and she reaches the bottle tree. She's about to go through when Smiley catches up to her and jumps on her before she can go through. Tabitha screams, and Julie and Victor rush over to her. Tabitha begs them not to touch her. She reacts in horror to the realization that her memories and Miranda's memories are the same because they're the same person.
Oh, shit.
I felt so vindicated.
Who could have foreseen this? I was losing my mind. Losing my mind.
Yeah.
Losing my mind.
Yeah. And I'm going to say it again. I've said it a few times. I'm going to say it again. The moment that really nailed it for me was when she was in the bar with Jade, and he showed her the picture of Christopher and Victor. And she said, "Yeah, that's Victor." And he commented, "Wow, you picked up on that a lot quicker than I did." Like, because they made a moment out of that.
Yeah, they did.
And like, that means something.
Mm-hmm.
And like, there's a reason that she recognized him so quickly. The other thing I noticed in this scene, the way that Victor was hugging Tabitha, I mean, it looked like a little boy hugging his mother.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just like I had goosebumps.
It's an incredible scene. Caitlin destroys the scene. Like she's so good. Her like terror and grief. It's just
Catalina. I was like,
Catalina.
Caitlin.
I'm sorry, Catalina. I'm tired. Excuse me. I know your name is Catalina. I was not trying to Anglicanize your name. I am just very tired. Catalina is a genius, and she crushed this scene.
Yeah,
it was beautiful. Her acting was incredible in this scene. I loved it.
Yeah, it really was. I'm just like,
Also, Hannah, like,
yeah,
she didn't get a lot to do, but you can hear her very quietly as it's panning out saying, "Mom, tell me what I can do for you." Like, and she's trying so hard to like break through. Like, all three of them, Scott McCord, Catalina, and Hannah, in this episode, in this scene, were just firing on all circuits. Like, it is such a powerful scene.
It really was.
Blows a huge mystery out of the water. Like, goodbye to the Eloise theory at last.
Exactly. No. I bet you some people will go even harder with it because they'll be like, they saw it because she's Eloise, so Eloise was watching this happen. So that means that she's Eloise.
Oh no. I thought that when Tabitha saw herself as a child, that would be the end of the Eloise theory. And people told me that those were the same kids. They're like, they're two completely different actors. And people were like, no, it's the same person. Like, they're just both brunette. They don't even look the same.
And the little girl was wearing like 1700s or 1800s clothes or whatever. Like,
I saw someone post a theory today that the boy monster that talks to Julie in the second episode, the one that everyone's hung up on, that's like, "Don't you remember me, Julie?" Is actually Randall.
Wow. Okay.
Not
Wow.
everyone is someone. Like, it's just not everyone is someone. I'm just gonna say that. I don't think any
Yeah.
of the monsters are like, multiple people think Tilly is the female old lady monster, and I'm like,
I
they
know.
just look similar. They're just both old white ladies. Like,
What the
they
hell?
don't look that similar.
What the fuck? Now, the
Not
only
everyone's good at theories.
yeah. I do think Ethan is Eloise. A
I could
reincarnation of
That would
Eloise.
make I mean, now that we are like 100% hashtag confirmed on reincarnation, that would make sense.
Yeah.
But I think the monsters, none of the monsters are reincarnations of other people. They are like the people of the town who passed away and are like eternally night creatures now. They're not reincarnated anybody.
Yeah. Yeah. Um oh man. Um so
How would Randall die in his teens and become a monster and then come back in the same body to become a like 30-ish, 20-ish, 30-ish something in the town?
yeah. Yeah.
That
It's very
makes
bizarre.
literally no sense. Someone just put up a picture of him with a similar haircut from the past. They're like, same person.
Yeah. Oh my god. Um I I had a theory that I was just gonna mention. I totally forgot what it was. I do that so much. I'm just like I lose my thoughts so quickly. Damn it. It
I'm
was
sorry.
it was a good one too. I think it was. I don't know. Maybe it sucked. And that's why I forgot it. I don't know. um anyway, what no, it was about reincarnation. Damn it. I don't know. I'll like if it was that fascinating, I'll make a video out of it or something. I don't know. I'll bring it up later. Um who is who's getting your pancakes this week and who are you putting in the box?
Um, Pancakes. I think I'm gonna go with Tabitha for pancakes. Tabitha been through a lot this episode.
Yeah.
uh, and I feel like I'm glad she and Jim finally sort of made up. I loved the moment she had with Julie, and
Mhm.
the ending scene just crushed. Like,
Yeah.
both Tabitha and Catalina are getting pancakes this week. With a small stack for Julie, and
Yeah.
I'm proud of Julie for finally starting to talk about her trauma. And then uh box, I'm gonna put Elgin and the kimono lady in the box because I think Elgin is being a huge creep show right now, and I'm super bummed that I don't think he's a trustworthy character anymore. I know he's not like intentionally being bad and hurting people, but he should. I wish unless he's like under her thrall, I don't understand why he's not having slightly more critical thinking skills about this. Like,
Yeah.
maybe holding my friend against her will in a prehistoric birthing hole isn't a positive thing.
Yeah.
IDK. But yeah. He's also him trying to like comfort Ellis and just being a huge creep. Not
Yeah.
helpful, Elgin. Not helpful to anybody.
No, he's not being himself,
Yeah.
which makes me think that maybe he is maybe he is in a trance.
Yeah.
I really hope that's the case because
I think there's a good shot of that being true.
yeah. I hope that's the case because like Elgin is such a sweetheart.
Yeah.
Um and I would hate to think that his character just got suddenly really weird. Like,
yeah, I don't think he's evil, and I definitely don't think he's irredeemable, but I do think he's going to have to walk that redemption path like Sarah did in the first 2 seasons.
yeah. Yeah, I agree. You know what? I am actually, this might shock you. I'm actually for the first time ever going
I know
to
what you're
give
going to say.
Jim pancakes.
Better get
I
him now.
I'm giving Jim the pancakes. Because he actually was a
If he
decent
deserves
human
it for
being.
any episode, it's this one. I think I've done it once, maybe. I'm not sure, but maybe not. Not this season for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, I if it's going to be for any episode, it's for this one.
Yeah. Yeah, he was at his best self in this episode.
Mhm.
Like,
He said, "I'm wrong."
yeah, exactly. Like, he didn't do anything Jimish.
Not one, except for like being like, "Why were you in the woods?
Yeah.
What boys were touching your parts?" Like, okay, T-Pain, get out of here.
Oh god. But yeah, like, he actually was a decent human being in this
Yeah,
episode.
that was the only dickish thing he did, which is basically a like whole new person for Jim.
Yeah. Yeah. And he was really really sweet with Ethan, like the whole talk that he gave him
Yeah,
about, blaming himself.
yeah,
And
that was a great scene.
yeah. Yeah, it really was. And in the way that he just totally owned up to Tabitha that he was wrong, and like, yeah. I'm giving him pancakes this week.
Good choice. Box.
Um yeah, Elgin's going in the box.
Sorry about it, buddy.
Yeah.
Love you,
Yeah.
mean it, but
You're just being kind of a weirdo.
yeah, something ain't right.
I don't know. I might actually. Okay, this is going to be really weird because I'm giving Jim pancakes. And I may actually give put a talisman in another box and make Victor spend the night there. I never thought
not as most helpful.
I never thought that I would
Yeah.
be saying that I'd be putting Victor in the box. But the dude threw a sled out the window.
Yeah. He was not his best self this week.
No,
For sure.
he definitely was not. Sorry, I still love you, Victor, but you'll get over it. You've been haunted by these monsters forever.
He's gotten tons of pancakes from us.
Yes, lots of them. Yeah, it's funny because it's like a total role reversal. Jim's getting pancakes and Victor's going in the box. But so in case you guys didn't know, I forgot to bring this up before. We are doing a Cameo giveaway next week during our after show. We're giving away a David Alpay cameo. So if you want to win that, all you have to do is be at our episode 10 after show and be active in the chat. But you get an extra entry every time you comment on one of our From episodes or are active in the chat at our after parties. So join us. We go live right after the episode on Sunday nights. So we did it a little differently last weekend, but yeah, Sunday nights, join us. You'll get an extra chance to win, and it's like his cameo seemed to be really awesome. So also, if we get enough people in the chat at the next after show, we will give away a cat shirt, just like Jade wears, the same same cat design. I'm really itching to give one away, so bring all your friends and show up. Also, in case you guys didn't know, they almost like a bunch of the cast does a live tweet on Sunday nights during the episodes. So check that out if you're on Twitter and look us up there. We're at Cyborg Queen TV on Twitter because they don't allow enough characters for media, unfortunately. So we have to be different. But yeah, Cyborg Queen TV on Twitter. Look us up there. And that is about all I have for this week. Oh,
Yeah.
and for those of you that are following along with our other shows, yes, we are very behind on Hysteria right now. I'm very sorry about that. Some personal stuff was going on, but I'm getting that. I'm catching up right now. So you can look for that starting next week. I'll probably put up the next episode on probably Monday, and then the next episode after that I'll probably put up on the next day on Tuesday. Also check out our Hannah Chermy interview if you haven't
Yeah.
seen that yet. Check that out. She was lovely.
That was a great
And
time.
yeah, it really was. And that's all I've got for now. Do you have anything to add in?
Nope, I'm good.
All right. See you next time, ding dongs.
Have a good one,
Bye.
guys. Bye.